Brace yourself, we're gonna crash. Heads down, stay down, put your heads between your legs. Smoke swallowed the cabin. Heat licked my arm. And in that instant, I made the choice that still defines me. Turn back into the chaos for my friend, or live with a question forever. I turned back. 43 years later, I'm going back to the place where it all happened. Quick heads up, people. This episode discusses an aviation accident and loss of life. If that's not right for you today, take care of yourself, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. This is the Where Do Gays Retire podcast. I'm Mark Goldstein. Today, we're off our usual route and also completely on brand, because where to live isn't just taxes and palm trees. It's the story you carry and the life you're willing to claim next. On September 13th, 1982, I survived the crash of Spantax Flight 995 in Malaga, Spain. I wrote about it years ago. This fall, 43 years later, I'm going back to Malaga for the first time since that day. Why return? Why was I spared when others weren't? And what does that have to do with walkable cities, queer community, and retirement? Let's talk about the day, the aftermath, and the choice to keep living forward. I was 24 years old. Four of us, Gail, Alan, and Mindy, plus me, had booked a 10-day budget tour with Carefree David. A round-trip JFK Spain airfare, hotels, transfers, meals, and guided visits through Madrid, Sevilla, Granada, and the Costa del Sol. The whole shebang was for about $660. That was a deal and a half, and we traveled like a rolling family, bus to bus, city to city. Malaga was our final stop before the flight back to JFK. Before we ever saw the plane, there was chaos at check-in. A wall of people, short tempers, and rumors ricocheting off the tile. Word spread the flight was overbooked and the airline was asking for volunteers to stay behind. In theory, you can get vouchers and a cute story. In reality, this was a charter, no regular schedule. We'll get you out eventually. Days? What does that mean? Days? A week? A month? No thanks. Staying was really non-negotiable. I was in a foreign country and wanted to get home. This was my first job that I ever had on Wall Street, and I was a department supervisor at Drexel Burnham Lambert. And I wasn't about to jeopardize it by getting stranded or haul my suitcase of dirty laundry around Spain for another week. At the gate, it was the same energy. People everywhere. Announcements in Spanish and English, a few volunteers stepping out of line, the rest of us clutching paper boarding passes like winning lottery tickets that hadn't been drawn yet. Eventually, they called us in groups. Instead of a jetway, we walked across the tarmac and climbed a set of metal stairs into the DC-10. Sun on the aluminum, the smell of fuel in the air, everyone jostling carry-ons up the steps. Old school, literal boots on the ground boarding. Now picture a charter DC-10 packed to the gills, rows that felt endless, a TV with a VCR strapped on it like the in-flight entertainment had a coupon. You go cheap, you get cheap, right? We line up on runway 14. Acceleration feels normal until a harsh vibration creeps up through the floor and into our bones. It spikes right as the captain begins to rotate. In a split second, he rejects the takeoff above the usual go, no-go speed pilots are trained to honor. There are about 4,250 feet of runway left. It isn't enough. We leave the pavement at just 110 knots, that's about 127 miles per hour, strike the runway's alignment antenna and the small shelter next to it, tear through a fence, cross the Malaga Torremolinos highway, hitting vehicles. I remember hitting a bus and some trucks, smashing into a low farm building. Engine number 3 separates at that point. 3/4 of the right wing and the right horizontal stabilizer are torn away. We stop at a feet about 1,480 feet beyond the runway end, and the aft cabin in the back catches fire. That's where we were sitting. When the plane finally stopped, there was this surreal sound. Hundreds of people's Yadro porcelain statues. Remember that 80s collector's craze? Everyone loved those Yadros. You heard them shattering in the overheads and in the aisles. A tinkling crash, then silence, then screaming. Inside is chaos, black smoke. Can't see, panels down, heat you can feel in your teeth. Some passengers were reaching for the overhead bins, trying to pull down their carry-ons. I don't know if it was out of habit, panic, or denial, or just to get their Yadros. Women had already kicked off their shoes for the long flight. Many ran outside barefoot. I took nothing, not a bag, not my passport, not a single extra piece of clothing, just me and my clothes that were on my back. My adrenaline had one instruction: survive, get out, live. I vaulted seat backs, reached over the overwing exit, flirting with flames. The exit wing was engulfed in flames, actually. And I remembered Gail. You don't leave your people. I turned back, grabbed her arm, and we flew over those rows together. We jumped. Burn on my arm, knee swollen, lungs full of soot, but alive. One friend made it out a different door before we could escape. The other trailed behind us as we jumped last. She broke a toe. And the passenger on my aisle side, well, I never saw her get out. That's how razor thin the margin was. I honestly believe if fewer people had tried to salvage carry-ons from the overheads, more could have made it out. Seconds mattered. Every delay in a smoke-filled cabin cost somebody oxygen. Many did not make it. The official toll is 50 lives lost, 47 passengers and 3 cabin crew members, and roughly 110 injuries. Early wire reports said 46. My memory held, for some reason, 54 deaths. In triage fog, numbers slide. The settled figure is 50. For the record, and because accuracy matters, the investigators found the retread on the right nose wheel began to peel during the takeoff roll, causing the severe vibration. The captain rejected after rotation above V1. That breaks normal procedure, and it was judged reasonable given the abnormal symptoms, split-second timing, and a limited training for non-engine failures on takeoff. With that sequence alignment, antenna and shelter, highway, farm building, post-crash fire matches the official analysis. If rejected after rotation sounds like pilot speak, here's the plain version. There's a speed on takeoff where in normal life you're committed to fly. Braking won't stop you in time. What happened felt so wrong that the captain tried to stop anyway. It was a human call in an inhuman moment. Two truths at once. Procedures exist for a reason, and sometimes your gut says this is not a normal emergency. That day, we got that kind of decision that's easy to pick apart in hindsight and impossible to envy in real time. I don't romanticize any of it. I just want to honor the complexity and the people who did their best minute by minute as a very bad chain of events unspooled. Survival isn't cinematic. It's soot in your lungs, a triage number slapped on your chest, and a doctor looking at Gail's leg and saying, nada mucho. No x-rays were taken. She couldn't walk, but in the blast radius of real catastrophe, a torn ligament reads minor. Back in Brooklyn, her doctor found torn ligaments in her leg. We were released from the hospital and bused to a hotel in Málaga where we met up with Mindy and Alan. Then we waited about 12 hours for word that an Iberia 747 was coming to take us home. When it did, they flew us to JFK without passports, just us, and a passenger list they were still trying to confirm. It was a triage plane, bandages, casts, face like shock has been ironed flat. I remember a girl getting sick before we even pushed off. And I remember the cabin's quiet, the kind of hums under the air vents. You could hear your own heartbeat. Then time passes and everyone else goes back to errands and dry cleaning while you're walking around in 4K HD. Food tastes different. Arguments feel smaller. Gratitudes get louder if you let it. It also cemented something I talk about on this show every week. Community is not optional. People saved each other that day, front to back, back to front. That's the same muscle we flex when we choose a neighborhood, a city, a country. You're not just picking geography, you're choosing your safety net. And yes, turbulence still taps the tripwire. You can be fine for months and then one hard bump and your body says, oh, we're back there. You learn to answer it. Thanks for the warning. Stand down. If you're able, take a breath with me for the 50 lives we lost. For the families who lived in limbo, who flew across an ocean for answers. For the helpers who ran towards heat and smoke. Thank you. We keep going in their honor. So why return now? Because grief has chapters, and sometimes simply being back in Malaga, walking past a cafe, catching that salty breeze off the water, hearing Spanish in your ear again is enough to bring every memory forward. I don't know if I'll go anywhere near the old crash area. I might not. I don't need a specific spot to remember. The city itself is the trigger and the bomb. Here's my plan. Call it a ritual, not a schedule. A morning walk, maybe with the phone off. Not sure. A small pebble tucked somewhere, meaningful with a whispered thank you. A letter to my younger self, folded, left somewhere only I'll remember. Dinner with my husband where we order too much and toast the ordinary, because ordinary is a privilege. Here's the letter to my younger self. Dear Mark, age 24, knees buzzing with adrenaline and soot in your lungs. You did the right thing. You turned back for your friend. That moment will echo for decades, and when it does, I want you to hear this. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's a decision to love someone more than you fear the fire. You won't save everyone. That will hurt. You'll replay faces you didn't see again and wonder if you could have done more. Let me spare you a few years. You did enough. You lived, and that obligates you not to perfection, but to presence. You'll still hate the turbulence. You'll still fly anyway. You'll build a life with a good man, start over in places that fit your nervous system, and you'll learn that a bench in the shade can be as holy as a cathedral. You'll make community on purpose. You'll tell this story 100 times, not to relive it, but to release it. You'll go back to Malaga someday. Maybe you won't visit the exact spot. You won't need to. The city itself will be a trigger in the bomb. When the salt air brings the memories back, let them. Then order dessert. Choosing joy is not disrespect, it's obedience to survival. One more thing. Keep the motto, you go cheap, you get cheap. But spend lavishly on what matters. Time, love, sidewalks you can actually use, and people who would turn back for you too. I'm proud of you. Keep going. You with a few more miles and softer jaw. Yes, I still plan to eat embarrassingly well. Grief and gratitude can share a table. That's why I'm going back. Not for geography, but to integrate the life I got with the place it started. People ask why I hammer walkability. Because I'm always talking about walkability. I just don't really like to drive. Here's why. Surviving a crash didn't make me afraid of life. It made me allergic to places that strand me. When we ask, where do gays retire? What we're really asking is, does this place give me choice, community, safety, and a calmer, everyday life? Let's make it practical. Take this with you on your next scouting trip, the 10-minute street test. Start at your front door or at the door of the place you're considering. Walk 5 minutes out, 5 back. Count the crossings. How many times did a car have to do you a favor, quote unquote, so you can live your life? Shade and seating. Did you have a tree every so often? A bench? Benches are public hugs. Noise. Can you hold a conversation without shouting? Errands. On that tiny loop, could you grab milk, meds, or a coffee? Transit and taxis. If your knee flares, how quickly can you bail out and still get home? Queer signals. Rainbow stickers on a cafe door, a flyer for Pride seniors, a bored barista who lights up when you say you're new to the area. Night walk. The same loop after sunset. Does it still feel okay? Are the lights good? Are there people around? Score each one of these from 0 to 2. Anything over a 10 is promising. Over 14, that's a place worth a second date. And a quick word for my car lovers. I'm not anti-car. I'm pro-choice. The question is whether a place forces a car for every errand or whether it offers other options. As we age, options are dignity. Also, if the barista remembers your order by day 3, baby, you already live there. So, as far as I'll give you a little example of a fear of flying workshop. I hear you. I want the life, but that 10-hour flight, no, let's do this together. 3 parts, before, during, and after. I'll even guide 2 short exercises you can replay on the plane. Part A, before you fly, pick your flight on your terms. Daylight if darkness spikes you. Aisle near the wing, less motion. Pre-board without apology. You're not special, you're prepared. Pack a comm kit. Noise canceling headphones, a water bottle or water, protein snack, eye mask, one tactile thing, a stress ball or a smooth stone, just to touch. Brief your brain. Write a note that starts, if I feel panic, that means my body is trying to protect me. Put it in your pocket. Part B, on-board routine. Exercise 1, box breathing, about 2 minutes. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 4, hold 4. Do 8 cycles with me now. I'm not going to go through the 4. That felt good. Okay. Exercise 2, 5-point grounding. C, name 5 things you see. Hear 4 sounds, close or far. Feel 3 points of contact, back, legs, or feet. Smell 2 scents, cleaners, coffee. Breathe 1 slow exhale to empty. Turbulence talk. It's uncomfortable, not unsafe. Wings flex by design. That's not failure. That's engineering showing off. Your seatbelt is your superpower. Crew script. Hi there. I'm an anxious flyer. If you see me white knuckling, a quick check-in helps. They're pros at this. Part C, after you land, name the win. Say out loud, I did that. Move your body. 10-minute walk resets your nervous system. Don't interrogate yourself. You don't have to explain your feelings to earn the life you want. If your clinician suggests medication, great. Chemistry is allowed. So is pride. I was scared. I flew anyway. You should see the first time I flew after the crash. I was kind of stupid, and I should have took a short flight from New York to Boston for 40 minutes. But what do? I take a flight 5-6 hours to San Francisco. I don't know, but after I got up in the air, I was fine. Anyway, when I say 50 out loud, I'm saying people, not a statistic. 50 families with empty chairs. That's 50 stories frozen mid-sentence. I don't pretend to know why I lived. Survivor's guilt doesn't vanish. It gets repurposed. I can't answer why I lived. I can only answer what I'll do with it. How I honor them. I tell the truth about that day. I choose connection over isolation. I pick places that let me help my neighbors and let them help me. Sometimes honoring means going back to touch a city that holds your past. And sometimes it means starting over somewhere new and letting the version of you that survived be the one who picks the neighborhood. You're listening to the Where Do Gays Retire podcast. I'm Mark Goldstein. If this episode helps, share it with someone who's stuck at the gate. Now let's land this plane. Here's my promise. I'll keep telling the truth about what scares me and what saves me. I'll choose places that lets me live, not just exist. And I'll keep inviting you to do the same because you deserve a life scaled to your courage, not your fear. If you see me in Malaga this fall, maybe quiet on a seaside paseo or outside in a cafe, you'll know I'm saying the names. Then I'll head to dinner because remembrance and joy can split the check. If this resonated with you at all, tell me your story. Fear of flying wins, the place that changed you, the city that finally felt like home. Join us at wheredogaysretire.com. You could email me at mark@wheredogaysretire.com or join our free website, lgbtqseniors.com. In 2 weeks, actually, we'll be back to our regularly scheduled walkability antics. Until then, hold your people close. Pick a place that picks you back, and remember, you go cheap, you get cheap. But sometimes you get a story that changes your life. Take care. Have a great week. Bye-bye.